Cell physiology, an overview of core principles and clinical insights. Definition. Cell physiology is the study of the mechanisms and processes that govern the function of cells, the basic structural and functional units of life. It explores the interactions between cellular components, including organelles, membranes, and signaling molecules, to maintain homeostasis. Understanding cell physiology is essential for grasping broader physiological concepts and addressing pathological disorders. Relevant anatomical structures. The cell consists of a plasma membrane, cytoplasm, and nucleus, each with specific roles. The plasma membrane, a phospholipid bilayer, regulates the exchange of ions and nutrients via channels and transporters. Organelles like mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, and Golgi apparatus drive energy production, protein synthesis, and trafficking, respectively, while the nucleus houses DNA for gene regulation. Key physiological processes. Key cellular processes include transport mechanisms, signal transduction, and energy metabolism. Transport mechanisms are classified as passive, e.g., diffusion, osmosis, or active, e.g., sodium-potassium pump, maintaining ionic gradients. Signal transduction pathways, such as G-protein-coupled receptor pathways, regulate responses to hormones and neurotransmitters, while energy metabolism is driven by oxidative phosphorylation in mitochondria. Regulation and control mechanisms. Cellular functions are tightly regulated by feedback mechanisms and ion gradients. Calcium ions act as secondary messengers in processes like muscle contraction and neurotransmitter release. Hormonal regulation, exemplified by insulin's effect on glucose uptake, relies on receptor-ligand interactions. Dysregulation, such as an insulin resistance, can lead to conditions like type 2 diabetes mellitus. Important biochemical pathways. Critical biochemical pathways include glycolysis, the Krebs cycle, and the electron transport chain. Glycolysis occurs in the cytoplasm, breaking down glucose into pyruvate and producing ATP and NADH. The Krebs cycle in mitochondria generates reducing equivalents, while the electron transport chain produces ATP through oxidative phosphorylation, consuming oxygen as the final electron acceptor. Membrane transport systems. Transport across the plasma membrane involves channels, carriers, and pumps. Voltage-gated ion channels regulate neuronal and muscular activity by controlling ion flux. The sodium-potassium pump, an active transport mechanism, maintains the resting membrane potential by exchanging 3 sodium ions for 2 potassium ions against their concentration gradients, consuming ATP. Signal transduction pathways. Cellular signaling involves ligand-receptor interactions, initiating cascades like the MAPK pathway and PI3K-AKT pathway. For instance, in response to epinephrine, beta-adrenergic receptors activate adenylate cyclase, increasing CAMP levels and triggering downstream effects. Aberrations in signaling pathways can result in diseases like cancer or autoimmune disorders. Cellular communication. Cells communicate via paracrine, autocrine, and endocrine signaling. Gap junctions enable direct cytoplasmic exchange, while extracellular messengers like cytokines and hormones mediate distant interactions. Neurotransmission, a rapid communication process, relies on synaptic release of substances like acetylcholine or dopamine. Homeostasis and pH regulation. Cells maintain pH homeostasis through buffer systems and transporters like sodium-hydrogen exchangers. Intracellular pH is kept around 7.2, critical for enzyme function. Carbonic anhydrase catalyzes the interconversion of carbon dioxide and bicarbonate, crucial for acid-base balance in tissues like the lungs and kidneys. Cellular adaptation to stress. Cells adapt to stress via processes like hypertrophy, atrophy, hyperplasia, and metaplasia. Under oxygen deprivation, cells shift to anaerobic glycolysis, producing lactic acid. Persistent stress may lead to apoptosis, programmed cell death, or necrosis, uncontrolled cell death, contributing to conditions like ischemic injury. Integration with other physiological systems. Cell physiology is interlinked with systems like the nervous, cardiovascular, and immune systems. For instance, neuronal action potentials depend on sodium and potassium channels, while cardiac muscle cells rely on calcium-induced calcium release for contraction. Dysfunction in cell communication underlies diseases like multiple sclerosis and heart failure. Role of mitochondria in energy and disease. Mitochondria are the powerhouse of the cell, generating 90% of cellular ATP through oxidative phosphorylation. They also regulate apoptosis by releasing cytochrome C into the cytoplasm. Mitochondrial dysfunction is implicated in disorders like Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, and mitochondrial myopathies. Clinical relevance and common disorders. Defects in cellular processes lead to disorders like cystic fibrosis, caused by mutations in the CFTR channel, disrupting chloride transport. Cancer arises from dysregulated cell proliferation due to mutations in genes like p53. Drugs like ivacaftor target specific molecular defects, offering personalized therapeutic options. Pharmacological implications in cell physiology. Understanding cell physiology informs drug action mechanisms, such as beta blockers inhibiting beta-adrenergic receptors in cardiovascular diseases. Calcium channel blockers like amlodipine modulate calcium entry, reducing cardiac workload. Knowledge of drug transporters, like P-glycoprotein, aids in optimizing drug delivery and avoiding multi-drug resistance. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with others. Subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update in the series that we are doing. For more learning resources, check the description below. See you in the next video.